Why would you say in fitness, generically speaking, it's all about aesthetics, appearance, and personal records? Because that seems to be a bit of a different approach to what you're doing these days.
I think it's easier to sell. It looks good. There's sex appeal, and there's a lot of satisfaction in seeing people do like really impressive feats and big lifts and whatnot. And I don't think that like there's anything wrong with that. Like you should share your best stuff. That's what we're all doing as humans. But I think over time it can start to create a culture that values like big muscles and what you can do and what's impressive over how do you actually feel and like, how do you move in this world? And, we're in this age of influencers right now, right? Whereas like, as long as you look good, people will watch your stuff essentially. I think that's why it's important for, people who have put like a lot of time into a discipline, people like yourself who have gone deep into a practice and can actually like share that there's like substance there. And it's about a little bit more than just like what's on the surface level and those external things. What this practice can teach you about life. And ultimately, like it can lead to, more confidence, more just like learning lessons and transforming yourself in all aspects of life.
For sure. And the brutal reality of it is that like we're quite superficial just by design. Like if we see something that's impressive, like you said, it stops us in our tracks. Or if we see a good physique, you can discern the difference between that and the average Joe, so to speak. But I think the real difference is there's nothing wrong with that. It's just offering substance beyond that. I think that is the ultimate. If you can get that combination, you could say all the right things, have the best message. But if you don't have at least some physicality to like back it up, the world's pretty harsh. They're just not going to listen. They'll just look to the next thing.
Yeah. And I think that's why like, no matter what branch of fitness you're in, you're like physique actually says a lot about your character, that you're disciplined and that you actually like know what you're talking about and that you've been through it. But I do think that there's other qualities, and maybe that's why, people gravitate towards certain teachers on YouTube and stuff. And like, I was actually having this conversation the other day, and it's like, a lot of the time, like you can feel something in someone's voice, right? And like someone can speak from a place of like being really passionate, knowing that person has experienced a lot, while another person can be saying all the right words. They can have like a great vocabulary and a great way of presenting it, but like there's no feeling there. And a lot of the time we're going to gravitate towards that person that has that passion and that can like put that across when they're speaking.
Yeah, because it's such a strange industry where you've got, say, one end of the spectrum, you've got the person with the PhD who knows all of the research, statistically can just give you facts on facts on facts, but they don't live in the world. Or you have someone else who's just maybe not very good at articulating their thoughts. Maybe they haven't had experience with teaching people, but they're an absolute savage. It's such a strange dichotomy between the two.
It is. And I think it's like when you find like the middle of that, like you can do a little bit of both, then that's when it's like, oh yeah, like this guy, I really just want to listen to this guy or girl, and I like want to learn from them. And it's just nice being around them or just like watching their content or whatever. It's a thing that sometimes you can't really describe, but you just know it.
What I've found is that if you focus on the process of doing the training to a high standard, you're going to eventually get the PRs and the appearance over time. But I find that it's hard to make the distinction. But if you're just doing quality work and you're objectively improving over time, you're going to get the stuff that superficially, the average person wants.
I love that. I couldn't agree more. I've always been a huge fan of just like telling people to prioritize a performance goal over like a physique goal or like a more of like a numbers goal. Like go out there and learn how to do muscle ups, or go out there and challenge yourself to learn a handstand. And it's like, I've never seen someone that can do, 5 handstand push-ups and doesn't like have good shoulders. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just a way more like gratifying experience to go through that and to get that physique on the back end, like secondary, but it's still there. It still comes. But you also like get this really like rich experience of going after something and attaining something.
Exactly. And I feel that that's a transition I see a lot of people starting in aesthetics, starting in bodybuilding. Their mindset would be going to a session, I'm doing this exercise to absolutely destroy my delts, and I've got to chase the pump. I've got to get the burn, and they're going to get to the same situation as someone that's doing handstand push-ups, relatively speaking.
Right.
If you enjoyed that, click here for the full fitness FAQs video. Peace.